What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I have a sad thing to report. As you guys know, this channel is the #1 Brie Larson fan club. I'm an unending supporter of all of her various films and directing opportunities, even when some would claim cultural appropriation for Bamati Blues movie, or people have problems with her weird feet. I constantly defend her. Now, her stans keep labeling me as some sort of hater, which is absurd. I mean, would I have 50 videos about someone that I hate? That seems unlikely. I'm obviously a gigantic fan. And now I'm just really sad to hear that Brie Larson has put out a statement and that she is not interested in pleasing me anymore. And that's really sad. Almost as sad as my existing hairline, which is exactly what I want to protect by using this video sponsor. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Keeps. Look, fellas, 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35. The best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have it. Well, mine's not exactly what it once was, but I'm doing what I can to keep it too. With Keeps, a licensed doctor will review your information online and recommend the right hair loss treatment plan for you. Then your treatment is shipped directly to your door every 3 months. Keeps is far more affordable as they offer generic versions of the FDA-approved medications for hair loss. Keeps treatments can take up to 4 to 6 months before you start seeing results, so it's important to act fast. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll save. And look, I'm 38 years old, going on 40. I'd like to keep what I have right now, literally. And if you're ready to take action to prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/thequartering or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order. That's KEEPS.com/thequartering. Keep what you have and save 50% off through this awesome sponsorship offer. Use the link in the description or the pinned comment down below. Make sure you check them out in the description and pinned comment below. This new article, Brie Larson on why it's not worth pleasing others for the sake of being nice. When the Marvel star Brie Larson isn't practicing archery, she's probably doing some serious personal and emotional growth. In a recent sit-down on Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, the actress opened up about overcoming the pressure of pleasing others and finding the courage to stand up for herself in uncomfortable situations. I'm absolutely happy to hear that. The last year and a half or 2 years, I feel like the universe has confronted me with the need to be able to confront sooner and just go, I don't like that, Larson explained. I'll find that especially with smaller things, I'll be like, it's just not worth it. Now I'm like, you know what's not worth it? Being uncomfortable and having resentment, and that being weird towards somebody forever. Larson, who won a 2016 Academy Award for Best Actress in a Role Room, explained that the fear of confrontation was people please motivated mixed with, I must be wrong. I don't want to look like a fool or say something when I'm obviously wrong, she would tell herself in these moments, before adding sarcastically, it's just my opinion that can't be right. Larson added that a major reason she's learned in recent years to not force herself to accept something when she's not ready to, when she opened up new avenues for personal growth. Wow, I'm proud of her. Larson admits she's at a 50-50 track record at this point when it comes to confrontation. 50-50, it goes well or it doesn't. The 31-year-old's newfound confidence has helped her own her space much more than before. I had this idea in my head like, once I reach blah, 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 then I'll finally be respected. Larson said when asked about her experience with respect as a woman in a male-dominated set, and it never changed. She elaborated saying the truth is it never changed until I changed. It changed once I was unbothered by it, which seems so bizarre to me because it was all so external. I'll never get away from this thing, this oppressive feeling. But once I diminished the effect it had on me, it became funny. Some of it just absurd. Some of it I have a lot of sympathy for because some people, like directors and producers, despite the fact that they can be older than me and they could have incredible credits, chances are I've had more time on set than them because I haven't had to do the pre-production stuff and I won't have to do the post stuff. So there's a higher probability I'm assuming that I'm working, that I just have more on-set experience. Yikes. So I suppose her position is that she's still oppressed, even though she's the highest paid woman in Hollywood. I don't know. I guess we all define things differently. I think Scarlett Johansson just got a $20 million paycheck for Black Widow plus residuals. I don't know. She also says, I'm in a different place. She said of success, I'm on my mark, which is at the epicenter of everybody. I feel everybody's energy. I know what everybody's job is. It's part of my job to know what everybody's job is. Okay. Interesting. She also claims that she's had a mind that tends to go little to the depression. Interesting. It's funny because, every one of these Hollywood people all have some sort of mental illness. I think we can all agree on that. But, this is on the heels of some absolutely savage feedback for the latest Captain Marvel. I mean, if we saw just the feedback in general, it was not good. This is obviously the Captain Marvel comic book, of course. And the idea that the director of Captain Marvel isn't even getting paid very much is also pretty hilarious. Director Nia DaCosta' landing Captain Marvel 2 didn't magically erase her student loan debt. Nia DaCosta's Candyman and the Marvels have made her a household name. Not really, but it hasn't changed her completely. While those not familiar with DaCosta's earlier work, like Little Woods, might not have recognized the name at the time, what she said about her $100,000 student loan debt, debt resonated with many who could relate to living with the constant stress of having to pay back that much money. Well, again, this is, one of the hilarious things. People have a choice to take out that much debt. There are people that, look, I had, I think, $30,000 for my undergraduate and $50,000 for my master's degree. I fully admit that I overtook loans. I took more than I needed, and it was oppressive, but ultimately it was my choice. I don't understand this position people take where they're like, oh my God, I couldn't possibly have done anything other than spend $100,000 on a college degree in gender studies. It's ridiculous. She'd need to land a massive Avengers level directing gig, which would allow her to pay it all off in one swoop. Then in 2020, news broke that DaCosta was set to direct Marvel Studios' sequel, The Marvels. Like any high-profile celebrity with good sense and suddenly found themselves thrust in the public spotlight, she quickly left social media not long after the Marvels news began making the rounds. As much a buzz around her had been focused on the Candyman's box office success. I think they're overselling the success of Candyman. It made $25 million. I mean, I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's not like it made $100 million in its opening weekend. It was interesting though. I was like, I will pay them off once I get a Marvel movie. Now I have one, and I'm like, Jesus, I'm still not going to be able to pay them all off. DaCosta said, everyone thinks I literally paid them off when I got the job, which is not how you get paid through the Directors Guild of America. Well, it sounds like she needs to get paid more, apparently. I don't know. I mean, it seems like every time, and you know what? A lot of these kind of sound bites and quips and quotes, they could absolutely be at the expense of leading questions, and I'm certain that they aren't a lot of times, but I don't think there's anyone that could really stand behind some sort of argument that, Brie Larson is, oppressed in Hollywood. This is a woman that, is at the peak. She's basically naming her own price on movies. Now there is, obviously the rumors that Disney's lost faith in her. I'm not exactly sure that tracks. I think the idea that they've called it The Marvels, I think that they just looked at this movie and thought, okay, well, Captain Marvel's already a really big name. Let's attach these other two characters, Miss Marvel and then Monica Rambeau, to her to try and build their cachet. I do think it was a big mistake calling it The Marvels. I've got to be honest. I think that's really going to hurt at the box office because, people are going to see that and say, oh, it's another generic Marvel movie. And they're not going to look at it and say, oh, that's Captain Marvel sequel. It's the same problem with the Birds of Prey movie. Like, just call it Harley Quinn. Why on God's green earth they called it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn was one of the dumbest moves Hollywood's done in a long time. I think calling it the Marvels is also not a good move. But I wish Brie all the best. It sounds like she's having a real tough go of it, making $20 million a movie. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.